I know that men, I always teach boys and teach my neighbors about their, young men. Men respond to consequence. That's what keeps us, you know what I'm saying? Women, I don't think it operates the same way. I think it should say something to the effect of their free will lacks accountability for the consequences, because they have consequences. They just don't want to accept them. Like the consequences, even though they're less in some situations, just philosophically, like women try to get away with it and then be like, oh, I'm a woman, or feel sorry for me, or I'm emotional, or you too logical, and it's they're fighting two causes, because then, on the other hand, they want to be equal. They want to be everything to be the same. Men go to sit down when they do a crime for a long time. If it was the same, I don't think they do it. I don't know. I just don't. I think they get away because they know their consequences are less. Maybe that makes sense, like somebody was saying earlier. But, I know myself, I don't operate because I know the consequences that I'm going to have. If I was put myself in a woman's shoes, I know I'd have a lot more wiggle room, because I'd be like, yeah, some of these consequences is suspect. All I got to do is play victim, or all I got to do is play this or act this, or I have So I'm going to leave it at that. I just would hope that people, realize that free will is a lot with free will. I mean, it's a lot. I wake up every morning and ask our creator to help guide my choices, because if it was up to me, y'all know what I'd be doing. Y'all already know I'd be playing golf and drinking that drink. So I'm gonna land with that one.
All right. D1, what's on your mind?
Yeah, man, what's on my mind is reality, Bert. And all too often when I come here, I'm the only one that I feel lives in reality. So I'll start with this. Women's free wills lacks consequence. That is a lie. It's a full lie. We see the consequences of women's actions all the time. If a woman is over the age of 30 and single and childless, she is significantly most likely to remain that way for the duration of her life. If a woman exits marriages, and for whatever reason, she is significantly likely to never marry again. If a woman has a child with the outside of wedlock, she is significantly most likely not to have a marriage. If women participate in sex work, women have had, when they try to exit that type of industry, they usually face extremes amount of scrutiny. They lose their job oftentimes when their employers find out about their sketchy past. They have a hard time getting employment in general. So oftentimes when women try to exit sex work of any kind, they end up right back there, because that is the only method they have in which to generate income again. And they're also less likely to end up in a relationship, a marriage, or to generate children. So even though we have a bunch of people on the internet, a bunch of women, yes, sis, do what you want. Sex workers are real workers. All these things that people say, when I look at the societal implications, the consequences are very much there. And I think Goffman kind of touched on it a bit. And then another fallacy that was made, that women get less time in prison than men do. Women get released earlier than men do. Correlation does not necessarily mean causation, but actually in this particular circumstance, it does. There are several reasons why this is the case. Separate convictions in separate states and separate judges and separate juries could definitely come with separate results. That will be the first thing. The second aspect to this is women are more likely to be on their being first time offenders of whatever they did. Women most likely are going to be non-violent offenders of whatever they did. Also, when women go to prison, they don't continuously do violent acts against each other. That is actually not as common as it is in male prison. So when women get released a lot more earlier, because they're not usually, not puking, but shanking each other up in prisons. We're doing all kinds of wild stuff. Also, women's facilities there's a lot less women facilities. Why? Because women commit less crime. So when women's facility starts to get to capacity, they start looking at the more peaceful prisoners, and they release them early, because they don't have to have as much infrastructure for prison. Because why? Women don't commit as many crimes as men. Sorry, guys, you need to open your eyes, touch grass, look in the mirror. I don't know, do some form of reality here, because you're not living in it. Now, geez, there was one last thing. Oh my God. Oh yes. We constantly are talking about the consequences and women having deletions and all these things. Where are the men in droves adopting these wayward children? There's a lot of men on this panel, a lot of men advocating for it. I doubt any of you adopted anybody, right? Why are we not talking about men using condom use, right? Why aren't men using condoms? Why are you knocking up women who are getting deletions? You can't tell me, because we talk all to women all the time, choose better. You choosing chicks who are more than willing to delete children, and you raw dog them. How does that make sense? being a stepdad ain't adopting a kid. I'm not saying getting the benefits of the mother. I'm saying taking responsibility of the child, Kevin. This is the problem. It's quid pro quo with us constantly. And I'm fine with that. That's reality. But I'm not going to sit here and thumb my nose at another group of people and thump my Bible and then go and act like I have not a single bit of responsibility or accountability for the things that are happening. I land.
It's a bitch. What, Kenzie? What are your thoughts?
So I don't know if like free will is the right word here or if it's just choices. But I do think we need to recognize like the structure that we are placed in, and different systems that impact that structure, because all of that influence certain outcomes. Even if someone does get pregnant and does not want to sustain that pregnancy, obviously there is the consequence of deletion. I don't think anyone needs to be obligated to sustain said pregnancy or be forced to be a parent. Like women's uteruses are not communal property. So I don't know why that would lack free consequence. To add on to D1's points, it also depends on what crime a woman commits. When a woman commits unaliving of her partner, she's statistically more likely to receive a harsher sentence, especially if it's even perceived as she's acting in self-defense. So I think even when we look at gender-based violence, when women defend themselves, they receive harsher consequences within the current system. I think the average for a man is 2 to 6 years, where for women it's 15 years. So those are the only really two main points. I mean, I think the draft is kind of a weak argument. No one's been drafted since the 70s. And honestly, I don't know why anyone would support the draft. So yeah.
Yeah. Pickle gets annoyed at these deletion arguments, right? Because I don't think we should be deleting just to avoid consequences. But my main thing is, why don't we actually have these actual conversations about healthy sex practices, wearing condoms, using contraception, all this, right? These women want to go straight to deletion. I had a baby. Deletion. All I gotta say is, if they can delete, I should be able to opt out fully in being a father. I mean, yes, not being.
That's interesting because when Kenzie was speaking, she did say that no one should be forced to be a parent, and I did immediately think about the dads when the father when she said that. Like I was,
it's funny how she'll say no one should be forced to be a parent, but typically when we have these conversations, if a man says yes, I should be able to opt out of being a father. No, sweet Jesus, no.
May I address that?
Can I ask a question?
Whoa. That two of you came off mute. No, not right now. I'll come back to you. Just be patient. I know you need to address it. I don't need you to come up to tell me that. Pickle, continue.
Yeah, because I'm for the sake of actual equality, right? Rights, responsibilities, and consequences, right? And for the sake of consistent and fair application of the law across the board, regardless of gender, race, or other statuses, right? So that means, since I'm for that, I believe both genders should be able to opt out, right? Now, say for instance, and I'll give a scenario. Say for instance, I'm passed out, right? I went partying, I'm passed out. I wake up, there's a lady beside me. I know when I went in that room, she won't there. She might have broke in. And I know this is a crazy scenario, but we have to think about it like this. Say she broke in and just wanted the pickle, right? Now she says she's pregnant. I don't even remember this woman. The baby's mine. I should at least be able to opt out. Like, let me opt out. And that's the thing. If we're for equality, we should be able to not have an issue with both genders being allowed to do the same type, conceptually the same thing. Like if I was a man, I should be able to opt out. If she can delete, I can opt out. You know what I'm saying? And I think on the same token, which I think it's a weird argument, but when men bring up the draft, I think they're bringing up the other concept when it comes to, in the U.S., when we talk about rights and responsibilities. So the perception is it looks like you don't want the responsibilities that come with having rights. When you say, I don't want to sign up for the draft, or I don't want, or since we're not talking about draft, we should create another system in place that women would have to sign up for, so they can actually have some level of responsibility to go along with the rights. That's the big thing. Rights, responsibilities, equality, personal consequence, personal responsibility, and accountability. That's all I believe in. Now, I want to be a father. If I would adopt a kid, but I have other situations going on right now that are more pressing that I am taking care of and handling. But if I could, I would adopt a few kids right now, because like I said, I work in a facility that has kids. A lot of them are wards of the state. I go and spend time with them every day. That's part of where All Father Pickle comes in, because some of these kids actually call me daddy because they have no dad in their life. Pickle power.
All right, very good. hold on, just me. I'll get to you in a second. Kenzie, what are your thoughts? You want to respond?
I think the comparison of like women having to sustain pregnancy and men having to pay child support is not a fair comparison. But ultimately, I don't think child support should be a civil issue. I think that if obviously a parent wants to opt out, they should be able to do so and have no financial responsibility. And then the parent who is the caregiver receives some kind of stipend or receives other social services so that the child can be cared for.
So you think the government should just do that and not the father?
Correct.
So basically, all men would be doing that, and all women would be doing that instead of the one father. That is what? So go ahead.
Right. Yeah. As a society, we have like an invested interest to make sure that children are taken care of, which is why there's other social programs like Medicaid, like public school is paid for. Yeah. If you want people to be able to take care of children when their partner leaves, which is why I would argue that some women do get abortions because they don't have.
Don't say that word. Don't say that word.
Sorry.
Don't drop her. Don't drop her. Don't drop her. Just don't say that word. Don't say that word again. But I have a question for you. Like, do you think the people who should be taking care of their children are the people who made that child? You don't think that's fundamentally the right thing?
If they want to, I don't think they should be forced to.
So if people don't want to take care of their children, they shouldn't have to.
Yeah. That isn't that what happens? Like, why would you want to force someone to be a caregiver? They're not going to do a good job.
Right. So let's make sure we have this clear, right? So if a mother doesn't want to take care of her child, she shouldn't have to. And if a father doesn't want to take care of his child, he shouldn't have to. That's your stance.
Correct. No one should be forced to be a parent.
And then when they don't want to do it, so they should never need to do that, and the government should just do it for them.
What do you mean never need to do that?
That's what you said.
So when we're talking about deletion and child support, like no one should be forced to sustain pregnancy. And yeah, if a partner does not want to be a parent and does not want to, like, the reason that I don't believe in child support is because men don't pay it. So yes, there should be a public service to make sure that single parents can take care of their children appropriately.
The reason you don't believe in child support is simply that men don't pay it. That's the reason.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, people don't pay traffic tickets. Do you believe in that?
I mean, I'm not a capitalist, so no, I think there's like an easier way to handle like how we drive.
Okay, I got it. Anything else?
Yeah, but I just find the comparison of like, oh, you want autonomy over your body, then I shouldn't have to pay child support is just like disingenuous. That's it.
All right, very good.
Please, Bert.
Not yet. After just me. Just me. What are your thoughts on the prompt, and also respond to anything you've heard?
Oh, good Lord. So I'm about to make a whole bunch of women mad, but at this point, I don't care. When did we quit teaching our daughters or our children in general about responsibilities and consequences? And when did we quit teaching them that they need to, if they are, I understand I raised teenagers and I understand that kids are going to do, I was a teenager, but when did we quit talking about having safe sex? When did we quit encouraging, condoms and responsibility and let them know that there's going to be a consequence to that action? And are they ready for that consequence? Because most of them aren't. So when did we quit doing that? There are consequences to every action. And why are we not teaching? And the whole point of this, I guess, is young women. I mean, you have to teach your girls, first of all, to be not only respect themselves, but be respectful of other people. And I'm blown away by what Kenzie said, because so if you have a child and it's a year old and you decide, oh, I just can't do this anymore, you're supposed to know who's supposed to take care of it. I just don't understand it. I absolutely believe that men should have the right to choose if they want to opt out of child support. I believe that. I also believe that women who serve in the military, I'm a veteran, served in the military, I was in the Marine Corps of all branches, and women in the military do not belong in combat roles. There are a lot of administrative and logistical roles and aviation that they can fulfill, but they do not belong on the ground in combat with men. It's a cohesion thing for the units because a man has a natural inclination to protect women. And I just do not understand. I listen to these comments as far as the A word goes. I feel like that there are very young people or people who, may be assaulted or they may be a victim of the I word, or there may be some reason that for a health reason that they have to do some kind of a deletion. I think those need to be safe and legal, but I believe in term limits. And I'm a Republican of all things. So I'm sorry, Bert. Thanks for letting me talk.
I apologize. You're fine. You're fine. We accept all opinions here. Kenzie, I think it's remarkable that your biggest gifter is Satan. That's something that's just interesting. J-Love, what are your thoughts?
He's a Southern woman too. Let's see.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
And just so you know, J-Love, before you speak, I don't even know what you're going to say, but Satan has not gifted you. Go ahead, J-Love.
Satan ain't gonna gift me. Satan is gonna call me a pick me and all kind of other stuff. Listen, okay. Women's free will lacks consequence. Based on what I just heard, the answer is yes. It has to be yes. Because my ears are bleeding as a woman. Oh, Lord have mercy. So, I came up here to say something totally different, but I'm going to get off of that one. I agree with Pickle. Women, if y'all feel like y'all have autonomy over your bodies, then men have autonomy over their wallets. So, if you decide you have autonomy and don't want to and decide to delete, then he has autonomy that if you decide to keep and he's told you, I don't want to be this child father, I shouldn't have to pay for it, then he has autonomy to not have to pay for it. Y'all sound, and this is the problem, which is why the free will lacks the consequence, because y'all don't want things, y'all scream equality, equity, treat us the same. But if men and women were treated exactly the same, ladies, I hate to tell y'all would lose every time. Y'all would lose every time, because you having a deletion is just like him saying, I don't want to take care of it. Same thing. So we sit here and I'm sorry. Sit here and we want to talk about, these men. I'm with D1. Wear condoms. Why aren't we talking to men about wearing condoms? Hold on. I'm sorry. I kept getting a call. Bert, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
So I'm in full agreement. Wear condoms. But ladies, let's not pretend that there aren't some men out here that come to y'all and say to y'all, hey, I really don't want to be a father. I'm just having fun. And y'all think that y'all can change them. And then y'all get pregnant. And then he looks at you and he tells you again, I really don't want to be a dad. And then you're like, oh, well, you don't want to be a father. That's fine. I'm going to just put you on child support. Listen, if he tells you that and he's upfront and honest with you, then why doesn't he have that autonomy? I really don't understand why he doesn't have that autonomy, because it's weird. Like y'all, this conversation. And then, Kenzie, you're talking about no one should be forced to be a parent. Huh? So you're telling me that women that go out here and get pregnant and have babies shouldn't be forced to take care of them? Are you serious? Like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Do you agree with safe haven laws?
Ma'am, I agree with responsibility.
That's yes or no.
Hold on, ladies. Both of you, hold on 1 second. But J-Love, you still have the mic, not you, Kenzie. J-Love has the mic. But like, she's arguing the prompt, J-Love.
She's not arguing the prompt.
No, she's proving the point that women like free will like consequences.
You know what, Bert?
Hold on, Kenzie.
You might be right, Bert. So I'm gonna agree with you. She is arguing the point for the prompt, but it is ridiculous, and this is why this is why people look at women. You're talking about the government should be responsible for these kids, baby. The government aren't responsible for these kids.
That's a mischaracterization.
Stop.
Listen, don't
stop.
at me.
No, stop.
You stay muted until I call your name. I will come to you next. Go ahead, J-Love.
Yeah, you're talking. You're literally saying that the government should be responsible for people being irresponsible is the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life, because the government isn't responsible for people not being responsible. My tax dollars are. I don't want to be responsible for your kids because you decide, oops, well, I got pregnant, but I'm not going to delete, but you know what, I'm a safe haven this baby. And then what about the mental trauma of these kids that get treated that way? See, we never think past the action. We just think about the now because I just don't feel like it. No, becoming a parent means if I get pregnant, I'm responsible for my action. Me slinging my box around for free all willy-nilly should not be the result. And this kid who's traumatized should not have to go through that. What are we talking about? So my tax dollars shouldn't have to pay for somebody else.
Hold on, J-Love. Like, I just have to. Like, I'm just watching the gift, right? So her top gifters are Basic Witch and Satan. Go ahead. You can't make this shit up.
I just don't understand how we have gotten so lost as a society on responsibility and accountability for self. What are we talking about? Safe haven the kids. So we're going to traumatize more kids because you're trifling? Are we serious? Are y'all like y'all playing with me? Y'all just doing this so y'all can get gifts and coins and all of these wonderful things. It's got to be the answer, because at the end of the day, you are saying the government should be responsible. Yeah, just like the government. Well, where are they gonna put all these kids at? And why should my tax dollars have to pay for your fuck up? Why should my tax dollars have to continue to pay for these services that they don't need to be paying for, that I don't utilize? Because as a grown person, I pay my bills. I pay my health insurance out of pocket. I promise you I do. I send Blue Cross Blue Shield $1,400 every month for health insurance. And that's a whole nother discussion. So I'm supposed to make the rest of the world be responsible because y'all sorry and trifling? Because, I just want to be out here all free willy-nilly. And then I'm supposed to continue because, see, I've had this argument about deletions and women doing deletions, and me and Bert have gone toe to toe. But you sound like one of them ones that are using deletion like Tic Tacs. You use deletions for birth control, and you are the problem. It's women like you that are the problem. That is literally what's wrong in this world today. Y'all are so flighty and just, my ears are bleeding over this foolishness. And this is why we will never become, we are doomed as a society. All this, yeah, it's okay to sling my box around. It's okay for me to get pregnant. It's okay for me to do all of these things. And then I'm gonna make somebody else be responsible. Because you know what? I don't feel like it. What? But then when you say, well, men shouldn't have to be responsible for kids that they don't want to have. Oh no, that's different. How, Sway? Woo. Bert, not today. No, Bert. Bert, yeah, I love you and Purdy, but yeah, I can't. Nope. Because I'm
You're not leaving. You're staying right there.
No,
you can't
sir,
drop.
no, sir. I got to go because this right here, this lets me know we are doomed as a society. These young women, these young feminists, and this is what the sad part is: the feminists of old, y'all make them look bad. Y'all make them look real bad because they actually fought for things that helped them. Y'all are fighting for, I don't feel like it, so I don't wanna. So because I don't wanna, I just, let's do safe havens. And you know, if I just decide I don't wanna do this today, you know what? Y'all mama should have swallowed y'all. That's what should have happened. Y'all mama should have swallowed. And I land.
All right, J-Lo. Kenzie, what would you like to say?
Man, the straw man is strong with this one. So if we're going to look at ways to prevent unwanted pregnancy, I think we can all find common ground that it should be like sex health education, public funding of long-acting reversible contraceptives, paid parental leave, subsidized childcare. These are things that would actually reduce abortion because people would then have education and resources. Deletion. So that it would actually be meaningful policy. If we're going to talk about like what policies are now in effect, if we look at the Republican Party, they're very much against sex health education, especially in school. We can see that the Bible Belt has the highest rates of teen pregnancy, and they're very much against social services in terms of like public funding of IUDs, subsidized daycare, paid parental leave.
I get it, Kenzie. I get it, right? And so
you didn't tell her, you didn't manage her when she was yapping. I don't know why you're managing me.
What do you think is going to happen if you don't let me manage you?
I'm just asking why you're managing me and not the other person.
What do you think will happen if you don't allow me to manage you as I see fit?
I'm asking a question. Why won't you answer it?
Answer my question
Wanted
first.
me to respond. Well, I'm sure you're going to kick me because, you don't like other people's opinions.
Damn, that was premature. Human, what are your thoughts?
The reason I have the thought process that I have, the reason I say the things that I say is because I believe in natural selection. What you just heard with Kenzie, what's going on with Lynn, the human here, we don't need to try and police women. We don't need to restrict their rights. We don't need to do anything. What needs to happen, and the reason I talk to men all the freaking time, is because we control us. We control who is born and who is not. We control who lives in societies and who doesn't. That's the truth. Whoever I skeet in is going to have a child. And whoever I stay with and raise that child is going to grow with my morals, is going to grow up with my perceptions, and is going to engage in society the way I deem they should, right? That has been a natural order of things. Us as men have relinquished our ability to do that because we spend so much time trying to police what 304s are doing, police what feminists are doing. Who cares? All the metrics show that these women 40% of these women are going to be childless by 2030. No husband, no children. They all will go extinct. So these mindsets, like J Love saying that we cooked as a society, no, we not. Men, stop knocking these chicks up. J Love said it best. Bust in they damn mouths, bust on they damn face, bust on they cheeks. We're a rubber, bro. None of this is necessary.
There are consequences if men don't take your direction, aren't there?
Yes. This is the reason I'm speaking to the men. I have to speak to the logical side of this whole thing. I have to. I'm not going to talk to somebody that will go around and around in circles and not take accountability for any of their actions. The thing that I at least notice about men, they're a lot more likely to go and look, okay, I did do that contribution. If the men stop contributing to giving crazed fourth wave feminist babies, 304s twerking it on the IG babies, then their sons want to be raised up having weird notches in their hair, painting their fingernails, whatever the case may be. If men decided that, hey, I'm going to do what men have done well into the past. They busted them chicks down and they threw them to the wayside. That's how men have always done it. And the women who came from good families, the women who were going to be cooperative and wanted to form a functional community, they married them and they made functional communities with them. We out here trying to make the outcast a part of society. And we have to stop doing that as men. We are the problem. I am perfectly fine the way women are, because there's a lot of women who are going to make great wives, who make great mothers, who are great contributors to society, who want to do things positive. We've had several come up here and speak. We have several here on regular days. The men have to stop impregnating 304s and feminists. And as long as we start doing that, by the time our sons are sitting on TikTok having this conversation, they're going to be talking about a myriad of different things. I land.
Very good. Golf Nut, what are your thoughts on anything? We're working our way around the panel.
As always, Bert, you have perfect timing, because I didn't have anything to say until D1 just said something made me think. It's funny what he says. I love the way he articulates the way that I've just been moving in my life, and you know, without all of the the extremes. That's kind of how I've been moving. Like, and I know a lot of men that move that way. I think it's interesting.
The larger point here, Golf Nut, is like, and I think you would agree. I think you and D1 both agree on this, and I agree with you as well. You know, men move a certain way because they realize there are consequences to not moving the right way. Like, this is still about consequences.
Yes, sir. That is probably has been my phrase of choice lately, because I've been talking to a neighbor who, her son, you know, he's graduated from high school. I think I spoke about him, and his father left a few years ago. So she's been raising him by herself. So I've been trying to talk to her about that. He's no longer a boy. He's a young man. He's so I told her, I said, you know, men deal with consequences. No more, you're my baby and I'll put you on punishment, because we know how to test those boundaries. Men need consequence. And if it was the same for women, it would be a whole nother ball game. I agree with someone who said that, because some of the, like, I tried to say it nicely, some of the consequences women get are just not harsh enough, I think. But that's another topic. I just wanted to say agree with D1 and kind of add on what he said in reference to my own experience. What I find is, you know, even in my latter age, as I'm listening to our younger generation, some of the younger women that were speaking, it's just a lot of, you know, ignorance. And ignorance is not a bad word. Ignorance is just lack of knowledge. So a lot of the youth, they suffer from ignorance. When I was young, I thought I